Distilling Guy, or the Old Humble Guy. Yeah, that's who I am. I'm the Old Humble Guy. My name's Joe. I own this here establishment, the Old Humble Distilling Company. That's one of my pot stills. That's the other pot still. That's my baby pot still. We use that for small batches of experimental things and stuff like that. Looks like we have good audio. Looks like we have good video. Looks like everything's going well. So let's get started. What are we doing today? Well, I'm bottling whiskey. I've got 10 cases of straight whiskey to bottle, 5 cases of bourbon, and 5 cases of double oak rye that needs to be bottled, but I'm not going to bottle it all today. Today I'm just going to go with the rye, I believe, because that is what I'm lowest on in the tasting room. So first, a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Today, just goofing off in chat when I should be getting ready to work. So here's the workstation behind me. This is what I'm working with. And this barrel right here is our straight whiskey. This one back here is our bourbon. This has rye in it. And today I'm going to start with rye. But first, what I need to do is get some stuff cleaned out of the way. These are my bourbon boxes of the first 5 cases that I did the other day. And I still need to label them and move them out of the way. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Megan Trainor is in my head. I guess there's worse things to have in your head. I guess. So I have these. My boxes don't come labeled. I have a generic box for all 4 of my brands. I print out box labels to put onto my labels, or to put onto the boxes, so that they can be identified at stores. So my logo is on the long side, but on the short side, it's just a white box. Ow! The short side is just a white box. So when this is sitting on a counter or sitting on a shelf, all you see is a white box. And that is not really conducive to finding boxes on a shelf in a store with big inventories and stuff like that. So I started putting box labels on the boxes to be identify what box is what, rather than have just a generic note on top of the box, which is what we did at first, because the idea was that if all the boxes were on a pallet, you look down, okay, this is one type of whiskey, this is another type of whiskey, but they don't look down on them when they're at the stores, because at the stores, they're on shelves above everybody's head. They look up at them. So I had to redo how we did my labeling, my box labeling, to make it better for not just the distributor, but also the stores themselves, so that they could more easily identify our product on shelves. Because there have been more than one occasions I've gone to stores and they couldn't find a box because it wasn't labeled. I'm like, it has my logo right there on the side. They're like, yeah, we don't look at that side because that side's the long side, and the long side goes, the short side goes to the outside. I'm like, oh, that's good information to have. Looks like the lunch crew is showing up over at the gym across the street, which is pretty cool. So it's Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day Friday. Good weekend usually. I mean, we usually have a really good time these weekends. We used to do a barbecue / open house type of event at the Old Humble Distilling Company, kind of an anniversary party. But we do not do that anymore because May was just too hot to do something like that outside. It was uncomfortable. So we kind of stopped doing it. But maybe it's time we got back to doing that. We're about to have air conditioning in the tasting room, so it may be time to restart the Memorial Day party tradition at the Old Humble Distilling Company. All right, so that is in. I may go ahead and start. Well, no, I'm just going to run 5 cases real quick, and then I'll filter the remainder of the rye into the rye container. Most of these should be picked up early next week, so they need to be picked up early next week. I've expressed that to our distributor multiple times that this stuff needs to get taken care of. Picked up and carried out and brought out. I need to check on something real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm only going to have about 2 hours total work time today, or total streaming time today. I've been doing other stuff behind the scenes, making phone calls, answering emails, setting up a schedule for June. Later on this evening, is a graduation ceremony for my 2 oldest boys, which is super duper exciting. I could not be more excited, excited for and proud of these boys. They are both going to make a significant mark in the future, I believe. They are both very good kids. I'll be right back. We got that taken care of. Now it's time to actually get cracking on the rye here. So I'm going to make 5 stacks. We're doing 60 bottles. We're doing 5 cases right now. That's all we need right now is 5 cases. So I come to my bottles. Who's here? Did I see anybody show up? No, I didn't. Good. Okay, so I'm going to go to my bottles first, stack up my bottles here. We need 60. So I'm going to have 12 rows of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 cases of whiskey, or 5 cases of whiskey, 12 per case. So that is 5 rows. 2, 3, 4. 5 rows of 12 bottles. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we must start moving up. I did this ass backwards. I realize that, but it's too late to do anything about it now. Which is an untrue statement. There. Fixed it. It is hot in here, a little bit stuffy. It's probably approaching 90 degrees outside. It's probably past 90 degrees. It was 86 when I came into the shop today. I have chunks of glass all over the distillery because of the Getting Smashed Every Day series that I'm doing. I could also do Getting Hammered every day until we hit 5,000 subscribers. Let's get hammered with the Old Humble Distilling Company. Ha 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 ha. Funny pun. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hello? Yeah. I came by earlier to check and see if y'all were in. Yeah. How late are you here? Oh, let me come get it now. All right, I got to go next door and pick up a box because the vendor's stupid. I'll be right back. Disconnect you. Don't go anywhere. All right. Look at what we got here, boys and girls. We got a box from my barrel vendor to replace the 2 barrels that crapped out on us. So I will be wetting these barrels probably tonight. I'm not going to do it now because I've got other stuff to do. But I am going to open the back door here, try and get a little circulation through, a little fresh air coming through here. Because it's hot outside, but if we keep the air moving, it can cool off a little bit. I'm still going to be a sweaty mess when I'm done with all this. And I'm going to go to Kroger's looking like a sweaty mess, and I don't care. I don't care one bit. Another thing about the geography and shape of this building is that wall over there is north. That wall over there is south. And I've got a big metal door on the south side, just like this big metal door on the north side. And these 2 big metal doors, especially the one facing the sun all day long, collects and transmits a ton of heat. So the south side of my building is much hotter than the north side of my building. Almost all the time, especially in the wintertime. I can go over there and put my hand on that door, and it is just absolutely baking because it's so hot. But that also helps with aging some of the whiskey. So our whiskey ages on that side of the building where it's warmer, helps to facilitate the aging process a little bit. Despite what people like Wade Woodard will say, aging doesn't work like that. Bullshit, Wade. It absolutely does. It's speed. The hotter it gets, the more temperature fluctuations you get, the more cycles of aging your whiskey will go through. The more cycles of aging it goes through, the more it touches the wood. The more it touches the wood, the more mature the whiskey tastes as it ages. These are known. These things are known. Okay, I believe I can do 6 across in the space that I have, or I need to do 6 across in the space that I have over here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. I might can do 5 across. So I may be able to fit 12. We'll find out. I don't have to know right away. But I find if I break this into manageable 5-case chunks, I can get computer work done in the morning. I can do some stupid YouTube stuff. Go see our latest short. It's day 7 of getting smashed every day. We did a twofer because I actually did skip a day because I was tired and did not post anything. 9, 10, 11, 12. Just barely not enough space. We'll go 10. We'll go 10. I don't want to knock any full bottles off the counter. That would be bad. Today we're bottling up our rye whiskey, double oak straight rye, 95% rye, aged with extra oak staves in the barrel. Got to do a quality control check real quick. Extra oak staves in the barrel. To balance out the high rye mash. That's some good research there. Oh my God, that's good whiskey. Balances out that high rye mash, gives a cleaner, smoother finish. We bottle it at 90 proof. Made locally, right up the road in Humble. Right, locally, right here in Humble. Ah, shit. There it happened. First time ever I've spilled a bottle of whiskey. Actually spilled the bottle on my table. God dang it. No crying over spilt whiskey, right? I actually need to redo the tabletops. We've got, it's a shellac seal, and the shellac is wearing off. The shellac needs to be redone periodically, from what I've read, to make sure it stays sealed all the way. And that was partly a result because it hit a rough patch on the table, causing it to there we go. And that's how we handle a spill. Just like that. Yeah, it hit a little rough patch here on the table, which caused it to topple over and spill. It happens. And this is how much I lost. A shot. Barely, not even a shot, not even a whole shot. It happens. I'm not happy, but, you know, it happens. So what's good in the news lately? The stupid choose the bear meme is still rolling around. What else is going around? There's some bar song that is the new hot meme song on the shorts. I've used it, I think, on, yeah, day 4. I used it on our Getting Smashed series. Beyonce's country album is still. I haven't heard a second song off that country album. Did she? I mean, it's a whole album. The first song sounded kind of paint by numbers and mediocre, but you know, it's a testament to her, her skill, her fan base, her legacy. That a mediocre album shot to the top of the charts and stayed there for however long it stayed there. I mean, it's a hell of an accomplishment. It's something only Beyonce can do. I mean, if a real country artist made a mediocre album, it would hardly even get any playtime or run. They would just be all like, yep, here's the latest garbage from, well, real country artists. Yeah, no, they do. They make garbage all the time. This isn't even intended to be throwing shade. It's just a statement of fact. Real country artists make garbage all the time. How do I not have 4 bottles even? What the hell's going on? This is 20, 24, 28. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. How am I off by 2? Huh. Let's see what happened with the counts here. Because it says 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some marketing nerds are talking to me, trying to get me to, well, I am going to get my website updated. It's out of date. It's on WordPress. I don't know how to edit WordPress. It is outside of my skill sets. How am I off by 2 bottles? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 40, 48. Did I pull 2 bottles too many? Do I not need those 2? Do I not know how to count? What the hell? What's up, guys? Do I not know how to count? Did I forget how to math? I had 5 times 12 is 60. That's all I needed. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Scooch these over just a little bit. 6. Guys, I may have forgotten how to add numbers. Full on. Did I not get 60? This is 12. 30. That's 42. 44. 48. Oh, I got 50. I didn't get 60. That's why. How did I only get 50? I guess I just got 50. That would explain why I have 2, because 50 is 48 plus 2. 50. 60. Well, there we go, kids. I did forget how to do math. I forgot how to count to 60. I got to 50 and I just quit. Because apparently, the old humble guy is a dum-dum. At least sometimes. And there you go. With a little bit of practice and a whole lot of luck, even you could be a dum-dum like me. All right, so this is right. This is what we do when we fill the bottles. The next thing is going to be corking the bottles. Then we're going to label the bottles. Everything is set up right here. And this is truly the middle part of my day. On a typical day like today, when I shut down the stream around 1:30, I would be going to a store to do tastings. But today is not a typical day because today is the day of graduation. Humble Independent School District's graduation day, as a matter of fact. The district in which my family resides as the family of the old Humble guy. And I've got 2 boys graduating today. The third one is in middle school and is not graduating for another 5 years because he is only moving into 8th grade. And no, moving from 8th grade to 9th grade is not graduation. It is simply going to a different school within the same district in your primary education years. I don't know when this trend of graduating kindergarten and graduating middle school and graduating from 5th grade. These kids have 4 graduations now. And that is just the stupidest damn nonsense. I mean, congratulations. You graduated kindergarten. That means you learned your numbers and figured out how to go a day without peeing yourself. Hooray. I mean, that's literally what you need to learn in kindergarten. You learn how to not cry when your mom leaves you at school. You learn how to not pee your pants. You learn how to count. If you know your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, and how to not pee, you get to go to 1st grade. That's it. That's not graduation. That's not anything, that's not a remarkable, it's not a life-changing event. You're not going from one station in life to another. I mean, at high school graduation, you're going from a student, a kid, if you will, a child student, to a young adult student, granted. But college is really your first, like, job. It's an unpaid internship. I mean, let's face it. These kids pay thousands of dollars. These parents pay thousands of dollars a year for their kids that basically learn how to be business, you know? They learn how to have a profession. They learn how to wake up in the morning and go to class. They learn how to learn things. They should learn how to be inquisitive and learn how to son of a bitch. They should be learning how to be inquisitive and how to think. They're learning facts. They're learning figures. They're learning history of their profession. They're learning the skills they need in their chosen field of study. You know, they're taking their first steps out. And some people would call it indoctrination. But I mean, Jesus Christ, if your ideology requires people to not learn things, if your ideology requires a certain set of facts, if your ideology requires stuff to be understood from a certain point of view, then your ideology requires ignorance of the broader picture. And that's not indoctrinate. And if you call education indoctrination, then your ideology does not support reality. And it's just not. It's not what you would call an education. It is what you would call the literal definition of indoctrination. Yeah, they're indoctrinating these kids. Yeah, they're teaching them how to think. And if that's, that's called education. If you want to call that indoctrination, then you've got a problem not with what they're teaching, but the fact that they're being taught. And that's not on the schools, that's on you. That's your problem, not the school's problem. Fix yourself. Anyway, that's my soapbox for the day. I'm not going to get too high on that. My other boy, he's got a real job coming out of school. He's going to go Army. And he's got a whole new world that he's going into. You see, going from elementary school to middle school is not graduation. It's just moving to a different school. Going from high school Army is graduation. You are now expected to be a big boy. Even going to college, you are now expected to be a big boy. You are expected to get up. Mommy's not waking you up at 6:30 to go to school. Mommy's not waking you up to go catch your bus. Mommy's not making you breakfast anymore. You are expected to get up, get moving on your own. That's the deal. You're moving from being mommy's little baby and daddy's little baby to being on your own, or at least largely on your own. I mean, granted, some kids still live at home. I did for a couple of semesters. But my schedule was such that I was on my own for that year. You know, my parents got up, they went to work. I got up, I went to school. I came home after they came home. I did my schoolwork. I went to work. And sometimes I went to work and then did my schoolwork, depending on the schedule. I mean, even living at home, I was on my own. They fixed dinner. We had family dinner still. That was a nice touch. Occasionally had family dinners. That is one thing that my wife requires at the house. We have our family dinners. And it is a delight, a true delight to sit at the table with all the boys and my beautiful queen. Find out how everybody's day went. That is something I'm truly going to miss this fall when the kids go off to school and the Army. I'm going to miss the family dinners. Of being able to sit down with everybody, get caught up, status updates, see how people are doing, how people are holding up, find out who's stressed out, who needs rest, who needs a little break. It's usually me and my wife that are stressed out and need a break. But that's just how it goes. All right, now this machine here, can y'all see this? Yeah, I call this my Glengarry Glen Ross because it is designed for closures. And Glengarry Glen Ross, the car sales movie with Alec Baldwin, a famous line, always be closing, ABC, but the famous line, coffee is for closures. Closers, sorry, I screwed up the line. Let me try that again. Coffee is for closers. So, this machine is for closures. See, that's a pun. That's what you call a pun. Coffee, this machine, is for closures. All right, so what's next? I found out that two of my long-time friends are actually crazy ex-girlfriends from some poor unlucky guys. One of them I knew was a crazy ex-girlfriend. You can't really blame. I didn't really blame her for being a crazy ex-girlfriend because, you know, sometimes you just have chemical imbalances, and that's rude to call. I mean, she's not crazy. She's getting treatment. But also, crazy ex-girlfriend is not a mental imbalance thing. It's a personality thing, behavioral thing. And we've all got at least one in our background, don't we, boys? And I made the comment that every guy has or knows a guy who has a crazy ex-girlfriend. Every guy. You either know someone with or are someone with. In some cases, both. You know someone and are someone. Some crazy woman who has tried to hit you with a baby trap or hit him with a baby trap. Slashed tires, keyed car, dumped everything outside and lit it on fire, tried to get you arrested, tried to get you beat up, tried to get you, you know, any number of crazy bitch things. Which is one of the reasons why when guys look at this stupid, oh, we chose the bear meme. I mean, first off, we know why women, you know, when you see a bear in the woods or a lone guy in the woods, you choose the bear. Hell, I would choose the bear. If I see a guy and a bear, I don't want to come across a dude. What the hell's a dude doing in the woods? And I know you shouldn't overthink a meme. They're not supposed to be taken literally. It's supposed to be an allegory, supposed to be taken as a metaphor, if you will. Because, you know, it's a meme. And let's face it, guys are dangerous. We've known this all of our lives, guys. Guys have known this forever. Guys are dangerous. You don't want to run across a guy because guys are unpredictable and they do stupid things and they're dicks. You know, and you certainly don't want to run across 3 dudes because that is the baseline for a gang, right? That is a gang of highwaymen or whatever. That's how you get rolled. You get 3 dudes come up on you. 3 on 1, that's not fair. 2 on 1, maybe you could deal with it. 3 on 1, nah. That's bad news. Bad news every day of the week. Are they running out there? No, it's the music. I swear I keep hearing noise. It sounds like somebody walking in gravel. But, you know, as the metaphor goes, you know, it makes sense. I understand it completely. I am on the same page with it because I would choose the same thing. A bear, you could probably get away from. You know the motives of a bear. You know what the bear wants to do. It either wants to eat you or it wants to get away from you. It does not want to follow you home and harass you for years and be a piece of shit. It doesn't want to trick you into thinking it's a good bear and then kill you later. It doesn't want to, there's all kinds of bad motives. And the fact is, if you find a dead body of any persuasion, chances are that dead body was created by a man, not a bear. Statistically speaking, in a random encounter, men are more dangerous than bears, statistically speaking. Because according to Bayes' theorem, actual statistical results, if you find a dead body, given there's a dead body, the probability that it was created by a man or a bear would be higher for a man rather than a bear. These are facts. This is known. Men avoid them in general. And the greatest single threat to a woman's life is a man. I mean, how many times do we hear it? You find a dead female body. You find a female body. And who's the first suspect? Check the husband, check the boyfriend, right? It's always the first suspect. And there's a reason for that. Not because bears break into houses, but because men are the single greatest threat to a female's life, to a woman's life. Males are a single greatest threat to females. Period. That said, if you go cavorting with bears, chances are you're going to end up dead from a bear. Chances are much higher that you're going to end up dead from a bear. You know, given that you are in trouble, who do you call for help? A guy or a bear? That'd be funny. You're like, you need help. You're like, my boyfriend's a piece of shit. I need somebody to help kick my boyfriend out of my house. Like, all right. No, not you. I want a bear. Like, all right, honey. call Smokey the Bear. He'll come and kick that guy out of your house for you. Sure. Get right on that. I have been personally present at the removal of dirtbag boyfriends, and I can assure you, never once has a bear shown up to offer help. I have retrieved stuff. I have retrieved people. I have retrieved many a thing that needed to be retrieved out of houses. Never once has a bear shown up. And quite frankly, I think we'd all been relieved if a bear had shown up and it wasn't the douchebag boyfriend or douchebag ex-husband. We'd be way relieved. Be like, oh, here's the problem. You were dating a bear. Yeah, they hurt you. They will hurt you. As opposed to just a dickhead dude, because dickhead dudes are hard to identify versus, normal dudes. Because dickhead dudes look like normal dudes. And they sound like normal dudes. but they don't behave like normal dudes because they're dickheads. And yeah, there's a difference between dickhead dudes and regular dudes, but you don't always spot them at first. You don't always spot them at first. Just like there's a difference between crazy bitches and regular bitches. Women, not regular bitches. That's not the right word. That's not the right terminology. Dickhead dudes and non-dickhead dudes, and crazy women and non-crazy women. But you know, we celebrate toxic femininity. We celebrate, oh yeah, I'm a bitch. I'll tell you exactly what I think. I'll tell you exactly what I think, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Oh, sweetheart, you're a bitch. You are a person that nobody likes. I am who I am. That's just how. No, you are a bitch. And if you am who you am and you can't grow as a person, then you are an infant, and you need to, stop being a fucking infant. You need to grow up and be a person. Just like we tell guys when they're fucking infants. That's not a proper terminology. When they're being fucking infants. There you go. Like, dude, you are being an infant. You need to grow up. Be a man. Quit being a dick. Guys need to hear that occasionally, frequently, sometimes. Some guys are lost cause. They're just pure monsters. They're just absolute monsters. And they need to go to jail. They need to be under the jail. They're terrible, terrible monsters of people. But unfortunately, some women are terrible monsters too. They're not violent monsters. Not like men are. There's a violence inherent, it seems to be inherent to some men. But there's some women who are also drawn to that. They use their men as a weapon to express their own toxicity. And if you're not sure if that even happens, ask Jada Pinkett Smith about that. If she can use her man as a weapon to defend her own honor. Women can't be toxic. Oh, really? Oh, really? Because I can cite specific examples. But that's not to say that we didn't have a culture of toxicity with men. Because we have a huge culture of toxicity with men. Celebrated for years. I mean, Jesus, I'm old enough to remember the 98-pound weakling trope where, the dude kicks sand in your eyes and steals your girlfriend, because that's what girls like. Bulky meathead dorks who kick sand in people's faces and steal you. So then you go and work out and get buff and then go win her back because the only thing that she wants is some man with muscles. Dude, that was a trope in the 50s, 60s, 70s, going all the way into the 80s. Celebrated toxicity. Yeah, just go beat someone up and take his girl. That did not make sense to me as a kid. Like, why would you want to be with somebody who wanted that? That's dumb. She'll be with you until you break your arm. Then you can't fight. And then she loses you, or you lose her. Culture was dumb. Culture's been dumb. But we celebrated that big dumb culture for a long time. We still do, to a large extent. And at some point, culturally, we're going to have to come to a reckoning on both sides of the equation. Because the playing field is changing rapidly under our feet as the ideas of masculinity and femininity the binary structure that we were all accustomed to for decades is kind of fading into the background. And it's less a binary and more of a spectrum. Like, what is masculinity anyway? What is femininity anyway? And just as Cher would say, men aren't necessary. I hate to tell you this, guys, but women aren't either. They're delightful. I love dessert. Just like Cher said, I love dessert. I think dessert is the greatest, but it's not required. My mom told me that I should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am the rich man. And that is an awesome quote. But it doesn't work both ways. We don't get to, it's not celebrated for men to settle down and marry a rich woman. But nothing wrong with that. If my wife was making six figures, hell yeah. I could quit taking a paycheck, start putting all the money back into the distillery. It would be great. But that's not how it works. Not yet, at least. There's still a lot of pride involved in paychecks and such. Keeping up appearances, doing all the things. That reminds me, I gotta go do a thing tonight. And there's a reckoning coming. It's not all, you can't change the playing field and expect the rules to stay the same. We grew up with, you never lay hands on a woman. You never lay hands on a woman. What's wrong with you? Don't touch her. But that also came with the tacit understanding that a woman never laid hands on you either. But we have video evidence. That's not what happens today, is there? Is it, boys? Is it, girls? You have to tell everyone to keep their hands to themselves now, don't we? Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Boys, it is never okay to put your hands on anyone. If you lunge at someone, you are very likely to meet a result that is fully expected from your behavior, but yet not something that you would prefer to happen. And girls, if you lunge at someone, now that's also to say that, I think the message of masculinity today is restraint. There's no reason to go nuclear on someone just because. The story of Nolan Ryan playing catch with his kids, he throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He'd go out in his backyard with his 8-year-old kid and just play soft toss. He's not gonna throw a fastball at a 7-year-old and punch a 6-inch hole in his back, right? If you encounter someone, you don't have to say, "Oh, you're stealing my truck. I guess I'm gonna have to murder you in my yard." That doesn't have to be the response to every conflict, right? There's a middle ground where everybody gets to live their life and move on and be decent people to each other, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, stay out of my yard or I'll kill you. It can be, dude, stay out of my yard, or we're going to have to talk about why you're in my yard and find out a solution to you getting the fuck out of my yard and staying out of my yard. Even if it means calling the authorities, even if it means, warning you 2 or 3 times, even if it means putting big locks and big gates, we can be decent people to each other, is what I'm saying. We have the capacity to be decent to each other. And that is probably what we as a people should be practicing on a regular basis. Basic human decency. Being decent. Not painting everyone with the same brush. Not saying yes all women or yes all men. Because all women aren't toxic. Some women are quite delightful and lovely. Just like all men aren't toxic. Some men are quite delightful and lovely. But it also has to be acknowledged that for decades, men have been programmed with a very toxic idea of what masculinity is. And we saw that all come out during the pandemic, where men who would puff up their chest and say, I'll do anything to protect my family. I'm not going to make them have to wear masks or nothing. They got to protect my freedom and protect my family. You come and put a mask on with my cold, dead hands. When the reality is that most people, period, most health threats to a family are not people breaking down your doors and trying to shoot and rape everybody. Most health threats to family are dietary, microbial in nature. They're environmental in nature. And if you're a real man and you're really interested in protecting your family, you do the dishes. You do the dishes, you clean the kitchen, you take part in ordering the food and doing grocery shopping. You help with the laundry. You help with general tidiness in the house, because the single greatest threat to your family is microbial in nature. And microbiomes in houses thrive in filth. But instead of helping, oh, that's women's work. We don't do that shit. I'm a man. I'm going to go out and shoot a fucking deer. Okay. So you're not really participating in the health of your household. You won't really do anything necessary to keep your family safe. You'll only say you will, but you won't actually do it. That's not masculinity. That's not being a man. That's being a fucking idiot. And that's toxic as hell. Because then that dumps all the burden of keeping your family safe from real threats. And most of those guys end up, well, not most of them, most of the guys who end up contemplating something awful, sitting in the driver's seat of their car after one of the worst days of their lives, are types of guys who would, quote, do anything to keep their family safe, because they've now found themselves painted into a wall, and the only thing they know to keep their family safe is a horrific crime that ends up on the news. And that's an important distinction. It's not most of the guys who say that. It's most of the guys who do that are guys who say that. Another one of those Bayes' theorem switcheroos on you. Most of the bears in the world will kill you. But given the fact that somebody is found dead, most of the time, it's not a bear who did it. All right, so this is my little label machine. You put the labels on machines, or put the labels on the bottles using these machines. Let's angle this down a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. It's just a spool on a little platform. Yeah, spool on a little platform. Turn the knob, feeds a label, boom. We have a bottle, a labeled bottle. Makes a little pile of paper over here. Roll up to the next one, set the bottle in place, roll it out, done. And you see, I can do 5 cases in a couple hours pretty easy. When I have a full crew working with me, I usually get, I can do about 20 cases in about the same amount of time. And when I say 5 cases, I mean filled, corked, sealed, labeled, boxed. And it's been about an hour. I guess it doesn't take me, it takes me, I guess, about an hour. And meanwhile, when I have a full crew, and by a full crew, I mean like four people. When I make a call for volunteers, usually what I'm looking for is 5 or 6 people. And every once in a while, we get a little tangle up in here. There we go. And I like having the volunteers come in. It's good PR, good community outreach. It's a great way to introduce people to our operation. They can see what we do and how we do what we do and where the value is. What it is they pay for when they're paying for bottles. You're not paying for a whole bunch of machines. You're literally paying for a guy to stand here and do this on a very regular basis. And I'll do this 4 or 5 times a week, actually. When we're in the full swing bottling mode. Because like I said, after the end of this, on a normal day, I go out to do demos and tastings. But today is not a normal day. Today is a very special day. Today is a very special day when a bunch of kids, a bunch of unique kids, dress up identically for the last time, and in some cases for the first time, and all sit together in a room for the last time before going off to college and starting the next great adventure, and in some cases the first great adventure of their lives. I am super excited for what these kids are about to do, and especially my kids, because some of these kids are going to light the whole damn world on fire. This generation coming out is a remarkable generation of kids. These are the people that we've been waiting on. Finally overturn the legacies of the boomers. My son, we were talking about something. We were talking about inflation or something, outsourcing of jobs, inflation, interest rates, something. We were talking about something, and the conversation turned to, why it's like that? Because I think it had to do with inflationary inflationary pressures on currencies or something to that effect. And I said, I said, why it's like, why it is the way it is. Uh, he goes, no. I said, well, for years and years and years, what we just did is we would just print more money, and that was a serious upwards pressure on inflation when you just printed more money. But we had downward pressure on inflation because we would also export stuff all over the world. But we also had but we would, when we imported things, what was it? We had downward pressures on inflation when we imported things, but in the post-World War II boom, we had more and more people with more and more money making more and more money, and that put upward pressure because there were more and more people buying more and more stuff. So ultimately, there we go. Back label, front label. Back label, front label. So, ultimately what you ended up with was, 8% inflation and 10% wage growth, which was really 2% wage growth. But it was very frustrating to people because things kept getting more expensive and they kept feeling things getting more expensive. And that's how things just worked for years. And it was okay because, you'd make 10% more. Things would cost 8% more, but you'd make 10% more. And things were, it was okay for years. But then something changed and wage growth kind of started to stagnate a little bit as we started importing more stuff, more and more and more. We were importing more and more and more, especially oil, and we found ourselves at a significant crossroads where more money was coming into the economy than was going out of the economy, and it wasn't going into heat sinks, inflation sinks like savings and stuff. So what they would do is they would raise interest rates to depress savings, or they would raise interest rates to improve savings and decrease spending, and then they would cause business. It would increase the lending cost for businesses, so they wouldn't borrow as much money, so they wouldn't grow as fast. So unemployment would go up, so spending would go down, and that's how they kind of kept it in check. But we got to this point where they were raising interest rates, and unemployment was still going up because we were importing stuff and exporting jobs, and things were getting out of whack. And then we hit this period of stagflation, and there was a structural imbalance in our economy, and it had to be fixed. And in comes the fix. Ron Reagan comes in and fixes it with the Fed and does all the things that need to be done to break the back of inflation. But that created another problem. Investments weren't growing fast enough suddenly in order to stave off cost of living increases, because guess who was on the verge of retirement? And he goes, why does every economic discussion always end with because the boomers? Like, well, they were the largest single cohort in the economy for 40 years. From the late 1960s to 2000, they were the largest single cohort in the economy. And the entire economy, the entire structure of the economy was built to accommodate them, from low interest rates to accommodate their cost of living increases as they retired, to the cost of land and cemeteries to pre-need funeral home or pre-need funeral and pre-need cemetery merchandise laws to prevent fraud. And that wasn't a big deal until people started buying cemetery plots en masse and buying funeral services en masse. You know, when you have 10,000 people a day dying because they're, you know, that's when you have the largest baby boom ever in your country, at some point you're going to have the largest, I don't know what you call it, geezer boom, geezer bust, geezer geyser. You have the largest funeral boom in the history of your country. You know, if you have 10,000 people a day being born, at some point you're going to have 10,000 people a day dying. That's just how it works. These people don't live forever. They can't. It's against the rules. They tried to. But they're not allowed. It's against the rule of nature. Besides, you wouldn't want to anyway. Who would want to live forever? Ugh. A dreadful existence. Being alive for 400 years, watching everybody you know die 4 times over. Ugh. Every single person you know, Mark, every person you know will be dead. Their lives are insignificant. Their lifespans are insignificant compared to yours. Don't you understand? Even her, I loved her. She's like a pet. Those are quotes from Invincible. All right, so what did we talk about so far? Talked about the bear. We talked about boomers. We talked about inflation. We talked about structure. Do y'all think Donald Trump is actually going to go to jail? I don't think the jury's going to acquit him. But there is the possibility. There's the very real possibility that the jury could look at the facts coming out of New York and say, yeah, he had no idea what he had no part of this. This was all Weissenberg and Michael Cohen. Alan Weissenberg and Michael Cohen. It was all them. This was their plot. They hatched it. Donald Trump didn't know it was illegal. All he wanted them to do was take care of it, and he assumed they were taking care of it legally. It's an entirely possible outcome. It's not true based on the evidence or the testimonies that I've read. But, you know, I haven't seen the whole thing. So I can't say for sure. I know what I want to happen. I want him to go to jail, and I want this election to be free and clear of obstruction, and he already cheated in one election by covering up and falsifying records to ensure the cover-up of a scandalous story coming out in the weeks before an election. When you want to talk about a free and fair election, at some point, breaking campaign rules, at some point you break the rules enough and it ceases to be a free and fair election, right? It seems reasonable to me. I still have a bet with one Dustin, Top Shelf Dustin, that Donald Trump won't even be the nominee come November. I really do think that they're going to take him off the ballot, and this might be the thing that takes him off the ballot if he goes to jail for, 8 weeks? 9 weeks? 90 days in the penitentiary. Well, he's going to miss the debates. He's going to be in jail for the debate that's in June. There's a debate scheduled in June and a verdict in a court case coming out in the next 2 weeks, maybe? I mean, he could be on the debate stage while a verdict is pending in New York. He could be 2, 3, 4, 5. He could be in jail. You know, I should probably do another dozen bottles. You know that? I should probably do another dozen bottles to put in the tasting room. Just to have tasting room stock. That's fine. I don't have to do those today. I've got 2 or 3 bottles at the bar for today and tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow. Do a little video telling people that it's Memorial Day weekend. And they need to come and have delicious whiskey at the Old Humble Distilling Company. But yeah, he could be on the stage while the jury breaks from deliberation. Let's assume that the jury is working. I think they've been sequestered, haven't they? I don't know. Let's say he's on the stage and the news breaks. The jury has delivered its verdict. The jury has instructed the judge that they have delivered their verdict, that they have come to an agreement. While he's on stage? Are you kidding me? That's the end of the debate. That's the end of the election, right? It's over at that point, right? So the bottles go into the boxes, and then we'll put the box label on the boxes. But I got to get them packed and moved first. Yeah, and see, everything we do here is done by hand. This is our boxing line, our boxing machine, whatever. All of it's done just like this. Two turntables and a microphone. 2 turntables and a microphone. But how does that even work? You know, I mean, he cannot run for president for 3 months while he's in jail. He can't run he loses a month on the campaign trail. No rallies. No Truth Social posts. Because you don't get social media from in jail. They don't let you do that, I don't think. His surrogates can post on his behalf, I suppose. But his surrogates post complete sentences with proper grammar. They're going to know it's not him. Doesn't have the same vile and hatred. And what happens to Ted Cruz if his boyfriend, his Lord and Savior, isn't on the ballot? Does Ted Cruz just vanish? God willing? The last time he ran for office, he was saved by Donald Trump being on the ballot. This time, will he be saved by Donald Trump being on the ballot? Only time will tell. I'm absolutely curious to find out. We'll find out. And then Top Shelf Dustin will hopefully owe me a bottle of Kentucky's Finest, which I will do my best to choke down, knowing full well that Kentucky's Finest is a pale shadow of Texas's finest. But I am infinitely curious. I mean, part of me wants him in jail and off the ballot and the end of his political career to be a blaze of courtroom glory. But part of me also wants him just to get the hell beat out of him. I want him to be on the ballot. I want him to be just purely, roundly, grossly defeated. You know, we're talking 45 states defeated. I want justice. If he broke the law and the jury finds him guilty, I want that to be the way it should be. Paul Dunecat, welcome to the party. But on the other hand, part of me wants him just to, you know, like when George Foreman finally left the scene. Not George Foreman. Who was it that left the scene just... When Ali beat Frazier. I think that's who I'm thinking of. And then he was just done. He just beat him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. All right, and that is 6 or 5 good cases of our double oak rye. Let me see if I've got labels for the rye. I'm sure I do. My shop feels cluttered. I have so much in here right now. So much in the shop. It just feels cluttered. Straight whiskey. Straight whiskey, straight whiskey, straight whiskey. Do we have labels here? What are on these labels? No rye. No rye. How about these labels? I have a bunch of packages of labels over here, but none of them have rye labels. Great. Okay, so I don't have any rye labels. Special Reserve, Boomtown Bourbon, Straight Whiskey, Special Reserve, Straight Whiskey, half sheets that are useless. I thought I had labels for the bourbon too. Where'd that go? I know I just had them. I had them and I tossed them over here. Special Reserve, Straight Whiskey. Well, kids, I'm losing my mind. Think I'm losing my mind this time. This time I'm losing my mind. Don't tell ASCAP. I just sang a song lyric. Fucking vultures. All right. And cheers. Dune Cat, welcome to the party. I don't know what happened to those. I swear it was. I swear I had them. Did I put them in a package and lose them? The Special Reserve. I'm off camera. Y'all can't see me. Special Reserve goes in that box right there. Straight Whiskey goes in that box right there. Blanks. Maybe I did use all of the Boomtown labels just like that. And now they're gone. Huh. I must have. All right. Make sure they're all Boomtown Bourbon. Legendary Boomtown Bourbon. Yep, they're all Legendary Boomtown Bourbon labels. All right, well, I guess I'm done. I've boxed up the rye, and now I've got to label the boxes, but I can't do that until after I get the labels for the boxes, which I swear I tossed them right over there, but I don't have any Boomtown Bourbon labels. Let me try it. Look one more time. 5 years straight, Special Reserve. They will turn up almost certainly when I get back from the print shop. Almost certainly when I get back from the print shop. Let me check in my actual filing cabinet where I have files. See if they turn up over there. You see, every day's an adventure. And nope, they're not in there. The hell is that? Ugh. Every day's an adventure. All right, you gotta die. The bug over here. There's a bug over here. There's a piece of broken glass. What is this? Oh, it's part of a mason jar that broke the other day. Okay. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what I did with him. I swear I had him in my hand. I'm going to have to go back on the tape and see where I tossed him. All right. What else do I have to do before I shut this down? What time is it? 1:10. I guess I could do another box of, do one more batch of rye. One more. No, I'm not going to do a full batch of rye. What I'm going to do is 3, 4, 5. So Starbucks made a mistake this morning. I ordered my coffee. They gave me a caramel caramel frappuccino, which I know people like this sort of stuff, but it tastes like shit. I'm going to drink it because I need the caffeine. I want the caffeine. But I absolutely hate the way it tastes. I had a mop bucket show up the other day, too. I don't know where that came from. All right. Let's go over here to camera 2. Put it in picture-in-picture. Let me move this camera and then put it in picture-in-picture. Let's talk about the current status of the channel as we look over into the factory floor. I'll put this in picture-in-picture there. No, we'll do it in the other picture-in-picture. Boom. So for you kids who don't know what picture-in-picture is, this was like one of the coolest technologies that you could have back in the day. You would watch, you could watch a show, and then like during a commercial, what you would do is you flip it to another channel to watch part of another show, and then put your other show in picture-in-picture down in the bottom right-hand corner or upper left-hand corner or wherever. And then when your show that you were interested in came back on, you could flip it back away from the show that you weren't interested in and back to the show that you were interested in. Also, you could avoid commercials. It was dumb. It was a dumb technology, but it's the best thing that happened to TV ever. Now we have live TV that you can fast forward through. So what you basically do is you wait, you pause the TV if you're watching it live. Nobody watches TV live anymore, but you pause it for 5 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever. And then this was the next step of the technology when DirecTV or whatever came up. Then you would pause the TV show for the first 5 or 8 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, and then you would start watching it. Then when the commercial came on, you fast forward through the commercial, then you start watching it again, and then fast forward through the commercial and start watching it. Now with streaming, it was that you didn't have to watch commercials at all with the streaming, but now the streaming services are putting commercials in the middle of your shows that you're already paying to watch through your subscription on the streaming service. So it's kind of a huge ripoff. So now we actually have to watch commercials again and pay for the service of watching the TV shows. So like Peacock, you pay whatever, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever Peacock is. And then Peacock also has commercials. So it's like, why the hell are we paying a subscription? Hulu did this to us. Why are we paying a subscription and watching commercials for our TV shows? This doesn't make any sense to me. But we're doing it because we're stupid. We're monkeys who love the adrenaline rush or endorphin rush or whatever it is, whatever rush we're getting. That's just how it goes. That's why we drink whiskey, so that we don't have to deal with endorphin rushes and adrenaline rushes or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's why we drink whiskey. I know I drink whiskey because it tastes good and I like whiskey. So yeah, that's We had 4 concurrent viewers. Huh. Interesting. When was that? Was that during my Donald Trump rant? Yeah, it was around then. Nice. Yeah. So anyway, uh, I don't miss the good old days. We had to record the TV show on VHS and uh, then fast forward through your shows. Get rid of all those. Just have YouTube Premium now. The best stuff. Oh, you got YouTube Premium. Does YouTube? I assume YouTube Premium doesn't have ads then. I don't. I'm not familiar with YouTube Premium. I know you can do live sports. I've seen Astros games, Houston Astros games, being in Houston myself. I've seen those games on YouTube Premium. What is that? Like 40? What is YouTube Premium? How much is that? Like $40 a month? Um, you should know. You got it. You could tell me. I'm looking it up myself. YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium is $14 a month. Way less than I thought it was. What is $40 a month? What is it that's $40 a month? Oh, that's the Fubu is like $40 a month. Huh. I know there's movies on YouTube Premium. One thing that I've noticed, my wife got a deal for Peacock. One thing I've noticed is that Peacock has a lot more and a lot better TV shows than Netflix. The value proposition that Netflix used to offer was way high. It was way good. The value proposition that Netflix had, you could watch any movie as many as you wanted, or very nearly any movie, as many as you wanted for like $8 a month, $9 a month, or something like that. You get CDs or DVDs, and you could watch them whenever you wanted, $9 a month, 3 at a time. And then, those DVDs became streaming services, and you could watch Netflix movies as long as you wanted, as many as you wanted, $8.99. $8.99, $10.99. You have 2 or 3 different accounts. You just watch all the movies you want, all the movies, all the TV shows. And then Prime started offering movies, and they'd offer them exclusivity on Prime. So you could only get them on Prime. Netflix couldn't have them. So now Netflix lost some of its catalog to Prime, but then Netflix started making their own movies. They started producing their own movies. So did Prime. Prime started producing their own movies too. Thank you, Zany. Appreciate that. We just finished boxing up another 5 boxes of Double Oak Rye, and by the end of the weekend, I'm going to have 10 boxes of everything. So we'll have 30 boxes on Monday or Tuesday ready to go out the door. Doing 5 boxes a day is a pretty easy, pretty nice breakup of my time. It takes me about an hour or so to do 5 boxes from start to finish. And if I wasn't breaking at 2 o'clock, I would start the next 5 boxes and box up some straight whiskey, or I'd probably box up the straight whiskey, so I'd have a set of 15, and then start over with the Boomtown and go forward from there. But anyway, the value proposition that Netflix offered was great, and then they started losing some of their catalog, but then they started making in-house movies. They started making their own movies. And then, you know what? I'm going to turn that camera just a little bit, because if we're going to look at I want to have the big boy stills in there too, over my shoulder. Got them? Yeah, big boy stills there. Okay, so and then Disney comes into the game. Hulu comes into the game. Hulu takes some of the catalog away from Netflix. Disney comes into the game, takes some of the catalog away from Netflix. So now Netflix's catalog, instead of being every movie ever made, ever, now they don't have quite so much ever. And then HBO kicks in their own streaming service. So now there's a bunch of HBO movies that don't get onto, that don't make their way onto Netflix. So Netflix used to have the best damn value in streaming services ever, and it's still pretty good. It's like $14 now, I think. but now there's Netflix and Hulu and Peacock, with Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Prime, Disney, YouTube Premium, Prime, Universal streaming service, whatever that one is, which I think is actually rolled into Hulu. I think Hulu also does CW's stuff. But now Netflix, instead of being the only game in town, they're one of 7 games in town. And in order to have, and if you want to get the actual broadcast channels, those are part of a cable package too. So you actually, you can go Fubo or any of these others, or you can just get the antenna. We've got an actual antenna, so we can watch some of the local stuff live. But it's just, we went from paying $70 a month on cable to paying $14 or $10 a month for 7 different streaming services. So you went from paying $70 for one service to $70 for a bunch of services. Bundling different streaming services, they don't have to carry channels, and shows up on a single bill. Yeah, they're just going back to the same paradigm that it was back in the 80s and 90s. And also, in order to get the discounted service, so like Netflix is whatever, $15, $19, whatever it is now. You get your Netflix discounted through Verizon, or you get your Hulu, Disney, and ESPN bundle, but it's free if you have a phone from Xfinity or whoever it is that they've partnered up with. So you can get your streaming services. You can either pay full price for your streaming services, or you can go get this phone and pay a premium for the phone and get your streaming services for free or discounted. It's just it feels like monopolistic practices all over again. You know what I mean? It feels like we're back in the day, or we're moving back to the day where a couple of companies control the ecosystem and there really isn't any competition. Advocate for piracy, but piracy sites have literally piracy sites do have literally everything, along with viruses. But no lie, I get most of my sports through a mirror site. Sports Surge. I get most of my sports events through Sports Surge. So I don't. I had done the proper and honorable thing, and created an email address on Yahoo in order to get a 7-day subscription from Fubo or whatever one of those services is, and then remember to terminate that service in 7 days after the free subscription period ends. That's how I got to watch the World Series and Super Bowl a couple of years. But now we got the antenna, so I don't have to worry about it. As long as it's broadcast on a antenna channel like NBC, Fox, ABC, CBS, as long as it's broadcast on a broadcast network, I can watch it with my antenna. Although weird cash grab from monopolies yeah. I mean, it is what it is. They control the ecosphere. They control it. And what are you going to do? You're going to not watch a movie? I mean, yeah, you could not. You can get your entertainment elsewhere, but what other entertainment is there? And that's not to say that you can't read books or whatever, but I mean, it's just they've literally taken a segment of the market and just there's no options. There's no other options. We're taking our stuff. We take our stuff, put it through our distribution channels, so you can only watch it through our distribution channels. And that is, a top to bottom monopoly. That's like a movie production company owning the theaters that the movies are broadcast. That's like a distillery owning the bars that our whiskey is sold in. That's illegal for me to do. I can't do that. But Netflix can do it. Verizon can do it. Verizon can own the production house, the movie production house. They can own the distribution channel. They can own the wires that their movies are sent through. They can own the whole thing, soup to nuts. Must View got banned. Can't even find the channel anymore. There was a hockey channel that streamed NHL games. I wonder what happened. I'm sure a few horrible monopolies. For a fact, there's even lobbying for potential dangerous products. Yeah, I mean it is what and you know, uh, baseball does the same thing. You can't watch baseball games locally. There's local blackouts. There's local. Yeah, I've tried to watch the Astros on a on TV in a bar 4 blocks away from the stadium, and we couldn't do it. And it was a broadcast game. It was on the Astros channel, but we couldn't do it. But that's another one. And I mean, there's some kind of delineation there because sports teams will own the channel through which their shows or their games are broadcast. I mean, that's something that's as old as time, but those channels still have to be carried by a carrier. The distribution network has to be on a distribution system. And there's got to be some, you know, eventually there's got to be some reckoning, because you can't. It doesn't see. I mean, Standard Oil own the oil wells, the pipelines, the refineries, the secondary pipelines, and the gas stations. And back in the teens, the late 1900s and early 20th century, the late 1800s and early 20th century, yeah. The federal government said, no, you can't do that. You can't own everything from production to distribution to retail. You can't do that. And now media companies do exactly that. They own production. They own everything from production to distribution to the retail dissemination of their product. And if you want to watch Marvel movies, you've got to own Disney Plus. You've got to have Disney Plus. You've got to have a Disney subscription if you want to watch Marvel, or you could just buy the movie, I suppose. And you can buy the movie in retail outlets that are not owned by Disney. So I guess that's the way they say it's not true monopoly. But at any point, Disney could say, "Yeah, we're not selling DVDs anymore. We're just not making them anymore. We don't make any money off DVDs, so we're not selling them anymore." Yeah, they could do that. But anyway, big money is the only kind of money that can compete. Yeah, and that's just the thing. Big money is the only kind of money that can compete these things. But there you go. It's 1:30, guys. I have graduation cakes to pick up, balloons to pick up, lunch to eat. I want to a big shout out and a big thank you to our, let's see here, on top screen, it's down there. On the bottom screen, it's over there. So I want a big shout out to our new subscribers this month. There's been about 310 of you. Thank you for joining the party. Thank you for supporting the channel. I truly, truly appreciate it. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers. My goal is to get there by the end of, let's call it the end of July. The end of July is a little bit ambitious. Right now, we're on a path to get there by the end of August. I'd like to move that up 30 days if we can. Check out our other videos. Check out our shorts. Most of what I do is shorts. It's silly, nonsensical comedy crap. We're smashing a bottle every day until we get to 5,000. Today we smashed 2 bottles. Go check out day 7. I will be having some longer form recorded videos, 8-9 minute videos. But I've got to get through some production stuff and some sales stuff before I can settle in and focus in on doing some longer short videos. And then, hey, come Christmas time, well, y'all are going to be some of the first people to know about our clear series of spirits, our winter wonderland of spirits, if you will. And also our what was the other thing I was going to do? Y'all are going to be some of the first people to know about our clear spirits, some of the first people to know about our New Year's parties, some of the first people to know about all the other stuff that's going to be coming out. So, it's exciting time to be a part of the Old Humble family. So I thank you all for your support. I thank you all for being people here to. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I was going to do. If you can operate them, yeah, that's come this winter. Those bad boys are going to be fired up, and we're going to start running spirits through the stills again. I've got some construction stuff that needs to get done before I can safely fire those up, because we got to clear some things out of the shop. But as soon as I start firing those up, the first runs, yeah, guarantee it's going to be on video. Or I'm going to turn on the live stream, put the cameras on it, and we're just going to sit here all afternoon and read a book and watch water boil. It's going to be fun, super fun, exciting times, a very exciting time to be part of the Old Humble family. And I appreciate the fact that you guys are along for the ride. So thank you for your support. Keep watching. Super chats, super fans, do all the stuff. Super duper appreciate it. I can't leave without my parting shot. Hold on. We're going to have a sip of rye. Quality control. That's all it is. Quality control. And also, we should probably have some education about the relationship, America's relationship with alcohol, because it is a complicated relationship. One drink will impair you, but you will not be so impaired that you are unable to drive. And this isn't even a full drink. This is about a half a shot or 3/4 of a shot. So it's also really important to have a good relationship and have a good relationship with the facts and a good relationship with reality. Know your limits, always, of course. Know your limits, always know your limits, and stay within your own limits. But also know the reality and know the facts. 3 cocktails within an hour is enough to put you over the limit. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink over the limit. Stay safe out there 100% of the time. But when you're out in stores and people are offering you samples, that is a 1/4 of an ounce. If you get drunk from a 1/4 of an ounce, you were already drunk to start with. Don't blame the people in the store. That's your fault. And also, if you become angry when you drink, that's not the spirit's problem. That's your problem. That's the spirit in you. So be decent to each other. That's the one thing that I can ask for. If you're going to be a part of my family, be decent to each other. Cheers to all you fine folks out there. Continue to be awesome to each other, and be always be awesome, and drink humble. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an award-winning production. Special thanks to Mr. Jiggs, our super fan. You too can be a super fan too. Hit that membership button for only $2 a month. Your super fan membership will get you extra entries and giveaways. So hit that button today. And until next time, continue to be awesome to each other.